In this video, I want to share with you a whole bunch of ways to start awakening the deeper parts of your being. This is going to help you to simply feel more present, feel a lot better, and live in alignment with yourself. This is going to help you to be clear about what you want in your life so that your focus is not scattered, but it's directed towards what is truly meaningful and important. Your focus will be directed towards what is essential for your well-being. Your focus is going to be directed towards what is essential for you living the best life that you can possibly live. So the first point I have here is raising your consciousness. You have to start becoming aware of yourself. Most of your life is controlled by unconscious patterns, about 95% of it. And this is actually a massive problem because if your conditioning is not wired in a way that's helping you, it's going to repeatedly act in a way that's not helping you until you wake up. Until you start to become aware and choose a path that actually serves you. And this is a bitter pill to swallow because we don't really want to think of ourselves as kind of puppets on a string being controlled by our unconscious conditioning and our shadow and our wounding. But this is the reality that we live in. And unless we're actually willing to do some serious psychological, spiritual, and emotional work, we're going to just be unconscious. And the first step to actually living a fantastic life, awakening the deeper parts of your being, being in alignment with your soul, is to start shining consciousness on the areas of your life that you're afraid to start looking at. You're afraid to start looking into your own mind, into your emotions, into various things. Essentially, you avoid yourself constantly. This needs to be undone. You do that through meditation, through journaling, through reading psychology and psychotherapy books. Again, I have a whole bunch of amazing books on spirituality, psychology, relationships, etc. Healing on my free book list. You should check that out. Pick a book that excites you and just pick it up. Next is living authentically. The thing about authenticity is that it's not as airy-fairy as like, I'm just going to kind of be myself and that's just kind of it. That's a little bit naive. In actuality, authenticity requires psychological, emotional, spiritual work. There's a lot of wounding that's covering up your authentic expression. And unless you're willing to actually heal those wounds, you're going to find yourself acting in dysfunctional ways. You're going to find yourself acting in ways that are not true for you. And this is actually going to cause suffering because your internal world is saying one thing, but then on the external, you're doing something totally different. And there's just going to be a lack of alignment. That split is going to cause you pain, and you're going to feel it. And how do you relate to the feeling of it? Do you avoid it? Do you want to run from it? Or are you willing to sit and look at what is it telling me? This is just fantastic. I love this place that I'm in right now. I love the sound of this water. Moving on is just letting go of attachment to outcomes. So life is constantly changing, and you need to have some ability to just let go of goals and outcomes. This doesn't mean that you don't have goals, but this means that your happiness should not be dependent upon an outcome, getting a thing that you want. Instead, it's learning to move with life and flow with life, while allowing life to carry you towards your goals. You got to focus more so on the present experience. Of course, you can have a good future plan, and we'll end up talking about that later on in the video. But you can't be always lost in the past and the future. You need ways to ground yourself in the present through meditation, committing to this process. We'll talk about this more later on in the video. I got some points that connect to this one. The next one is practicing compassion and opening up the heart. This is not a hippy-dippy, airy-fairy thing. This is very real. A lot of people walk around, they're tight, physically tight in their chest. Their muscles are quite literally tight. They have a closed heart, and they can't really feel deeply into that area. And as you begin to just kind of breathe into this area, use the breath to open up your being, you'll notice that, oh my God, my heart is like an intelligent thing. It's actually communicating with me. It's in the same way that your gut does. And by opening up the heart, you start to feel more connected to existence. You start to recognize your oneness with existence. You start to realize the non-separateness of existence, the unity of everything. You start to be more creative. You start to feel deeper. You start to feel far more authentic. Moving on is embracing uncertainty and complexity. Essentially, accepting that life is messy, accepting that you don't need to have all the answers, and learning to be comfortable in the unknown and the sort of ambiguous. By embracing the unknown and not knowing, counterintuitively, you come to the deepest understanding that you can actually come to. Through undoing all the things that you thought you knew were true, you come to realize something far deeper. by breaking a lot of your conditioning, getting out of the known and being stuck in that, and embracing the unknown, embracing not knowing, you come to start seeing things from a whole new perspective that's actually more true and actually leads you to deeper understanding. In fact, most of the reason why we cling to the things that we know is because we're just afraid to let them go. It's pure emotional attachment, and it's tied in with our ego, our sense of who we are in the world. Moving on is being present in your daily life. You need to actually cultivate ways for you to be connected to the moment. A lot of this has to do with meditation, mindfulness, meditation retreats, taking care of your needs, not being distracted, not being addicted to a whole bunch of things. You need ways to actually start to deal with all of this stuff. I'm not going to go into too much depth on that in this video. I've done it in the past. You can check it out. But in this video, I want to say that this is just so essential for your happiness, for your well-being, for your clarity. And this kind of breaks my heart because a lot of people just really don't recognize this, and they stay just stuck in their patterns forever. And they don't even recognize that they're stuck in their patterns because there's no one to tell them, hey, you're stuck in this pattern, wake up. Moving on is committing to ongoing growth. Life is this kind of continuous evolution of consciousness that you need to actually commit yourself to. The more you move against that, the more pain you're going to feel. The more you move with the evolution of consciousness, the more happy you're actually going to feel. Life isn't just this kind of random thing. It's consciousness coming to realize itself and evolving, realizing itself in more complex ways. So you need to actually challenge assumptions, for example. You need to read books. You need to just acknowledge that growth is continuous and value this. Moving on is caring for your whole self, your mind, body, and spirit, all of which are completely intertwined. Practice mind-body integration through things like yoga, meditation. Take care of your physical health. Take care of, your spiritual health. Actually have time to self-reflect and meditate. Structure that into your daily life. Don't be afraid to even go on meditation retreats. They're extremely beneficial. I'm fresh off of one actually at the moment. Maybe a few days off a meditation retreat. Moving on is contribute to others' well-being. This should be a massive part of a lot of people's careers that I personally believe that essentially, what are you going to give to the world? Right? Are you just going to take everything and always just focus on yourself? That's okay, you have needs, but essentially you have to go beyond yourself as well and give to the world. And what are you actually going to be contributing to the world while you're here for this short and limited time? As a bonus point, I could say contemplate death, contemplate the short amount of time that you actually have here on the planet, and use that to not make you depressed, but to connect you to the moment, to make you realize, holy shit, what am I doing with my life? I've been given this beautiful opportunity. I don't want to waste it. I want to make the most out of it, right? Moving on to number 10 is let life unfold naturally. Learn to release the need for rigid control. Right? Learn to let go, learn to hold on, learn to allow things to flow naturally. Learn to be in control, learn to let go of control. It's a paradox. You got to learn both. And essentially, you need to learn how to adapt to life changes, embracing this constant flow and shift and change, making yourself flexible rather than rigid and attached. This is kind of the nature of the ego. It's just afraid, attached, unwilling to let go, stuck in the known, and it's just not very comfortable. So trust that everything will actually fall into its proper place. This might not go the way that you particularly want it to go in every single situation, but trust life. Trust in the natural wisdom of the universe. Trust in nature. Trust in yourself. Trust in your gut. Moving on is focus on what really matters. Things like relationships, your personal growth, the evolution of your own consciousness, constructing a meaningful career that you love, that actually brings love into existence, that brings well-being into existence. Most careers actually make mankind quite sick. Most of the money made on planet Earth is done very unconsciously and in highly sickening ways. So recognize that things like love and connection are extremely important. Recognize that your personal growth is really important and focus on them. Cut out the noise. Right? When I'm saying focus on what truly matters, that means you're focusing on this and you're cutting out the things that are bullshit. You're cutting out the things that are not bringing you wellness. You're cutting out the things that are simply clogging up your mind. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes more is less. Sometimes less is less. Sometimes more is more. Right? Cut out what isn't needed. Right? Sometimes less is more. Moving on is practicing gratitude for life. Fall in love with life. Can you fall in love with this moment right now? Can you see the beauty of it? Can you look at your hand and recognize the pure beauty of existence? Not because it is this way or is that way, but just because it exists. Just recognize the beauty beyond duality, the beauty beyond conventional, ugly, and beautiful. The beauty of the very nature of existence. The beauty of the fact that this can even exist at all, and you're fortunate enough to actually be here to experience it. That's it for this video. Starting to rain, I gotta get going. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, you can apply to do so. Link is in the pinned comment. See you later.